If you want to make a difference and leave a legacy, I would tell you to find a mentor and seek knowledge. Then turn around, find someone else who needs a mentor, and continue to pass the torch. Hi. Jaclyn Steele, welcome to the Pass the Torch podcast. We have the amazing Jaclyn Steele. She is a musician and an entrepreneur, founder of the Rebel Society, and founder of Steele International. Can't wait to hear about it. Welcome again to Pass the Torch podcast.
Oh, thank you. I'm so honored to be here, and I love your mission. And so anything I can do to help and help pass the torch, dude, totally down.
Definitely appreciate it. And your title, I mean, musician. I don't know anybody who's in my circle who does not love music. And two businesses, that's incredible. So tell us your why for getting started in business and how you got to the point you are right now.
So, interestingly, it all boils down to music. All boils down to music. So I started performing professionally, and I realized that not only I write my own business, and I had to learn the business aspect of it because I didn't have a budget to get started, right? And so I started learning how to do marketing and website development and social media management to actually market my own music. And so Steele International became a business because I learned all of this business acumen and like marketing, basically just the foundational marketing things that you have to know. And I was being hired as an independent contractor for different clients because I was just doing a bang up job, and it very, very organically and naturally became a business born out of my desire to get my music out into the world. So, yeah.
That was very cool.
Yeah.
And you're running it by yourself or with a group or?
So I have one other person.
Yeah.
It's a small business.
Mm-hmm.
We are a two-man team right now.
Yeah.
I do the marketing, like day-to-day client relations, client management. Then I do a lot of graphic design, like the creative stuff, basically.
Yeah.
And then other man on the team does all the videography.
Very cool.
We like to fancy ourselves as a one-stop shop for small business owners. We do everything from website development and graphic design and branding to video blogging, explainer videos. Basically anything you need as a small business owner to get your product or service out into the world.
Very cool. How do we get a hold of you? How do we get your attention? I mean, you seem very established in getting to a great point. I think some people might be intimidated in even approaching you. So.
Oh, goodness. Well, first of all, I thank you, and I take that as a compliment for sure, but my mission in life is to help others in as much as I possibly can, so I always want to remain approachable. You can contact me on any social media channel. I am on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and I can send you all of those links. I mean, do you post links in the podcast notes or something?
Yeah, I absolutely can. Definitely.
Yeah, so how about that? I'll send you all of my website information. I've got a couple of websites, and all the links to my social media accounts, because
Yeah.
I definitely want to connect with people. And if people have questions too, I am so happy to respond directly. Again, anything I can do to help answer questions, especially if people are teetering on whether or not they want to start a business or
Yeah.
start what they would deem as like a crazy adventure. I would love to be able to encourage them and impart, the little wisdom that I do have. So please reach out to me, definitely.
Absolutely. So, I'm a fan of Rebel Society. Yeah, I think that's how I actually. I think it was through Instagram, and then I saw Rebel Society. Went to your website. You have your newsletter. Tell us about Rebel Society and those motivational snippets that every day. I'm telling you guys, if you're not part of Rebel Society, you need to look into this. And We already said we're going to put the link up, so there's no excuse. But what motivated you to do Rebel Society? Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, well, thank you for the compliment. But really, it's so simple. I felt like I was reading so much, I was learning so much. I had a couple of really good mentors, and I felt like I had this information that was changing my life so radically that it was my job to just share that information. And so the Rebel Society was born out of my desire to simply share what I was learning that I thought would be of value to other people. And the reason I say rebel is because I feel like what I've learned has taught me to go against the grain.
Yeah.
You know, culturally, I think we're often encouraged to fit in and to just kind of take the safe route. And in everything that I was learning, it was saying face your fear, and whatever your fear is telling you to do, go in the opposite direction. So that's why I called it the Rebel Society. But again, it was just born out of my desire to share the valuable lessons that I was learning in hopes that other people would find value from it and then implement some of those things into their own lives to make them better.
Yeah. No, definitely. Like some of the things you say are always, it's like, okay, how does she know that I'm going through this in my life too? You know? And that's what's really awesome is just by simply sharing knowledge that no matter what you're going through, there's usually someone else who can actually relate. And the things that you've put out, I can personally say that I've been like, okay, that was extremely timely. So I love seeing the videos, and I keep it up, please.
Well, thank you so much. I couldn't get better feedback than that, and that is my sole purpose. You know, the Rebel Society is not something that I make money from or
Yeah.
want to make money from in the near future. It is simply a way to kind of pay it forward, and I love it.
Yeah.
Getting the feedback that you just gave me, getting messages from people, man, it is so touching, and to know that I'm part of something that's so much bigger than me is such a gift. I mean, that's why we get out of bed in the morning, right?
Absolutely. I love it. No, it's motivational content put and mixed with technology, which is exactly what Mentorch is about as well.
Yeah.
And anybody can access it. All you need is a smartphone or a computer, and you can actually absorb anything that's coming out of your head, out of your mind, your thoughts, and
Yeah, it's so incredible. I mean, the digital age, I mean, if we're not going to roll with it, we're
yeah,
going to get left behind. So I think the more we embrace it and utilize it wisely and put good out into the world, I
yeah,
think so often people focus on all the bad things that are happening. And certainly, you know, I'm not blind to that. There are definitely things happening in the world that are very negative, but there's also so much good. And I feel like if I can contribute to the goodness and to the light, then that's exactly what I want to be doing and continue doing. And that's what, I mean, if we want to make a change, that's what all of us have to do, because it starts with us, right? It's
definitely.
the man or the woman in the mirror. And the more we change ourselves for the better, I think the more collectively we'll change the world.
Yeah, could not agree more. There's a lot of negativity in the world today, and we have a few options, and one of the options is either just listen to it and let that be the overpowering voice, or we can be louder than it. And we've had conversations about that. Like, we need to be louder than that negativity in the world and outshine that.
Yeah, we do. We do, because I mean, everything that happens in life, how you take it is completely up to you. You can filter it as this happened to me and now it is going to impact the rest of my life, or you can view it as a singular event and
Yeah.
say, I'm going to learn everything I can from that experience, but I'm going to flip it on its head and turn it into something positive.
Right.
Moving forward, and you know, take it as like a chink in your armor rather than like, I have no armor left, my life is over.
That's
You
it.
gotta like move forward, Game of Thrones style.
Yeah.
Trying to be like Khaleesi, man.
Yeah. Are you a Game of Thrones fan? Is that?
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I am a huge Game of Thrones fan.
I could not tell. No.
You're
No.
adorable. Like,
Yeah.
I know, I think I have 3 dogs, so I think this Halloween I'm gonna dress them all in drag.
Drag. Yeah. Yep. I knew that was coming. That's hilarious. Well, you definitely, we got to see pictures. That's going to be awesome.
Yes, yes, totally. But yeah, yeah, I mean, everything is what we make of it. Things are as hard or as easy as we make them. And that's something that I try and bring into every aspect of my personal life
Yeah,
and business. Like I can complain about it or I can say, I'm so privileged to be able to have my own business. This may be something that I'm not looking very forward to, but I still get to make the choice.
exactly.
And that's a huge blessing.
Yeah, absolutely. With all the ups and downs, the roller coaster ride, it's an amazing ride.
Yeah,
That's a
it
privilege.
is. It is. It's such a, I mean, it is. It's a privilege to, no matter what's happening in the United States. I mean, we live in a country that affords us so many different opportunities. Are they perfect? Absolutely not. But there's
Yeah,
never been a better time in the history of ever
yeah,
to be an entrepreneur. I mean, we have
100%.
so many tools at our disposal,
Yeah.
right? I mean, everything. People are creating, six-figure businesses on Instagram.
Hmm.
I mean, 5 years ago, that kind of stuff was unheard of. So I feel like this is the new frontier. We're not in like the gold rush. We're in
Yeah,
the digital age rush.
yeah. To mention another show, it's like Hell on Wheels. It's a new land, new frontier. We can get on the bandwagon and go and venture and be the leaders of that, or we can watch. And a lot of people did watch, and they were probably regretting that decision to not take part.
Yeah, and I get it. I mean, change can be uncomfortable, and I think the tendency is to fear what you don't know,
Right.
right? But Bob Dylan wrote, "There's nothing so constant as change,"
There it
and
is.
yeah, I mean,
Yep.
that's just the truth. So if we are unwilling to change, we are either going to be stagnant or completely left behind or both. So I think the more we can prime our minds and our bodies for change and being accepting of it and being flexible with it, the better we will be prepared to handle life in general, whether that's business or personal stuff, because things are constantly going to be changing
That's it.
day in, day out. But it can be a cool thing too. Not all change is bad. Some of it's awesome.
That's it. Hey, we have to be comfortable. And if we're not, then you're gonna get left behind because, like you said, change is constant, and especially if you're an entrepreneur. Like my wife is, she's taking a marketing class right now, and they don't talk about social media nearly as much as she thought they were going to. And I'm like, okay, so this marketing course is not, evolving with the times because that's the center,
Whoa.
of any business right now. So,
I mean,
no,
if you are a business and you are online and you want to sell a product or a service
no,
and you're not on social media, I mean, you are failing to tap into one of the biggest resources at your disposal.
mhm,
And it's like it's free, but it's not free, right?
right,
Because it's an investment of your time, and
right,
time is money. But to me, it is so worth that investment. I mean, had I not been on social media, on Instagram, I never would have met you.
right.
You never would have been a part of the Rebel Society. I never would have learned about Mentorch and Pass the Torch podcast. Like, that's all social media.
It is. Yep,
All of it.
definitely. And we're continuing to use it, right? And continuing to
Yeah.
meet people, and people are forever searching. Like, so there's people who weren't on social media last week that are still looking for Rebel Society, and now they're like, wow, I didn't even know this existed. So they're going to continue uh, to discover this, that's
Oh,
the exciting
yeah.
stuff. New generations are going to continue to join social media, be part of this generation that uses it to find businesses and opportunities.
And find and socialize. I mean,
Yeah,
from my marketing background, if I have one piece of advice for people getting on social media and trying to do business on social media, it is these are social networks first and foremost. So if you get on there and you immediately start selling, that is immediately a turn off.
yeah,
It means you've written
yeah,
off
yeah,
for a good How
Yeah.
can I solve a problem for you? If you're all like me, which I know you're not, but I do see
Appreciate
that
it.
fairly often, like it's the hard sell.
Yeah.
It's the hard sell over and over and over and over again. I'm a huge Gary Vaynerchuk fan.
Yeah.
Jab,
Yeah.
right hook. I mean, that's the holy grail of social media and online marketing.
100%.
You have to earn that know, like, and trust factor. Just like traditionally, a brick and mortar business would have to lure you in,
Right.
right? And establish that relationship with you.
Right.
Now that is becoming less important, but it's in the brick and mortar aspect and more important in the digital aspect. So
Hmm.
we have to be so mindful of how we're reaching out to people and how we're interacting. We can't do the hard sell. It has to be an invitation.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's something that really attracted me to, I keep going back to Rebel Society, but um like you said, brick and mortar, that's how the original stores were, right? So I think the same thing for Rebel Society, like how you're imparting your knowledge, and it's also really mentally how I think about Mentorch is people sat around kitchen tables or campfires and they talked
Yes.
and they spread their knowledge, and
Yes.
that's how we started doing it in the beginning. And I think I really truly feel we're doing a full circle, and that's what we are trying to do as humans is return back to that core, but we're using technology as well.
I just got chills. Yes. And I think even though we are more connected than
Hmm.
we have ever been as a civilization,
No,
people are starving for connection.
there you go. Yep.
And so I think for me, beyond business, because yes, business is important, but that's not the most important thing in my life.
Hmm.
The most important thing in my life is to connect with other people and alleviate suffering in as much as I can alleviate suffering. And I do that through the Rebel Society by
Right.
imparting knowledge that has transformed my life. And so being able to connect in such an organic way,
Hmm.
my primary way of advertising the Rebel Society, which isn't really even advertising, it's just making videos
Yeah.
with absolutely no production value of me just telling people things that I've learned. Some people are going to think that's the most boring thing on the planet, but my target demographic, people who are just genuinely wanting to learn more about how to become better people and better
Yeah.
business owners,
Yep.
that's the tribe that I'm attracting. And it's purely by being genuine and sharing what I know.
That's it.
And man, I feel like especially in marketing, and I had an awesome client meeting today, but I think people want a silver bullet, right? They
Right.
want that, like, what's the biggest bang for our buck? How do we get the most clients? How do we get the most money? And those things are all important.
Hmm.
Absolutely. But if you are not genuinely making connections, to me it's all for naught, because no matter how much money you have in the bank, you're still going to be alone and sad. So
Yeah.
yeah, but I think the more we become ourselves and forget about what other people are judging us on, or other people's point of view, and the more we just genuinely own our truth and speak it out, the better everybody will be, because everybody on this planet has a unique point of view.
Right.
Everybody has something valuable to say.
That's huge.
I kind of went off on a tangent.
No, no, that was awesome. No, and you're 100% right. And the more you do Rebel Society, the more we get people interacting, whether it be Mentorch or through Steel International and everything like that, tying those communities together, communities where we
Yeah.
think alike,
Yeah.
100%. I think that we're going to be on the right track. And people like us who have the conversations, who think similar, but also we have other opinions, right? And we have other
Sure.
backgrounds and stuff like that. That's going to be powerful, but it's positive. That's the point. Is we're thinking about growing.
Oh, you're so right. And I think no matter what happens, if we allow space for differing opinions,
Right.
that's all we need to do. Like, you and I may have different political views, or we may have the same. I don't know. you and respect that you are your own
Mm-hmm.
capable, intelligent human, and so am I. We don't have the same opinions.
Right.
Like, why does that matter so much? And I think the more we open up opportunities for conversations like this, conversations that I know you're having on your podcast, conversations that we have online that are open and honest but respectful, I mean, those are the kind of things that tip the scale toward a more balanced, respectful, peaceful society. And again, I keep coming back to the silver bullet. People are like, well, we want world peace, or hey, I want to be a game changer. I want to be somebody who changes the world. But the reality is, major change occurs from tiny little changes
Absolutely.
that occur very often over a long period of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only way that we're going to achieve change in the world is if everybody does their part. And so the more open you are, and I'm not saying don't have an opinion, but be respectful of other people's opinions too.
Yeah.
And the more we walk in our own truth and try to be positive, loving, compassionate, empathetic humans, if every human on the planet tried to do that, our world would be drastically different. Drastically.
That's it. Like there is no silver bullet. I don't know why. That's so frustrating. They want the shortcut, and it doesn't exist. Doesn't exist.
People want super simple answers to very complex questions, and they want simple anecdotes to complex problems, and like those don't exist. But it doesn't mean that we shouldn't try to solve those problems.
Right. Definitely. Hey, I was reading a. Oh, go ahead. Sorry about that.
No, I just said we just can't give up.
No.
And the mark of any society that loses hope, that's when things just go. Sorry.
No, you're good.
My dog is barking.
It's not a problem.
So doesn't know what she wants. But
He's
crazy.
offering his piece too.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, it's not a problem.
Oh, dragon number one.
Yeah, that was it. Was that the boss dragon? Probably.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
she's the little one of the group.
Yep. Always
She's
the
like
case.
4.5 pounds. Plus. But she is totally the boss, which is so hilarious.
Oh, she. What's her name?
Pippin.
Pippin. Very cool.
Pippin. Little Pip.
Oh, what was I? Yeah. So I was thinking about the silver bullet thing you were talking about, and I was reading an article the other day about how the pyramids were made, and this guy, he's like a professor. He's like, actually, we don't really know. And he's like, anybody who actually tells you they know, they're lying. And I won't get into that because that could last forever. But what he did say, which made a lot of sense to me, and I think about it from our standpoint of building companies, he said that every single stone on the pyramids were built so precisely, and that the attention to detail and the patience that was put into there, by the time it got to the top, it was a pyramid. But if people got lazy, and there were, I don't even know how many, but it was a lot. If anybody got lazy during that period of building it, it wouldn't have been a pyramid by the time they finished building it.
It wouldn't still be standing.
Yeah, yeah. So it's that foundation.
Man, and I think so. The digital age has ushered in so many awesome things, but I think one of the negative byproducts is that people want instant access. They
Yeah.
want instant results. They want instant money for minimal input, right? They want to do no work and receive the maximum amount of money. And what I tell people is that is not a way to create a sustainable business or a business that's going to be here in a year or 2 years.
Right.
It's small actions taken every single day that stone by stone, just like the pyramids, add up to something awesome.
Yeah.
And something that I keep coming back to is a quote by Tony Robbins, which is something like, we overestimate what we can do in a year and underestimate what we can do in a decade.
Yep. That's it.
And I think people want instant gratification when that's just not how life works. I mean, to get to this to get to this point, if somebody saw me online right now, they might say, "Oh, well, she's got this, this, and this, and this."
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the reality is, it took me the last 5 years
Yeah.
to build that, and
Absolutely.
I'm still not even remotely where I want to be,
Yep.
but I know that I'm heading in the right direction. And it's like Malcolm Gladwell's tipping point,
Hmm.
right? We build, we build, we build, we build, and sometimes it feels like nobody's paying attention. Sometimes it feels like we're gonna fail. It's all part
Yeah.
of that entrepreneurial like roller
Oh yeah.
coaster. And then there comes
Yeah.
a tipping point. Sometimes it's giant, sometimes it's little, but there are these wins where we reach that level of success that then gets us to the next plateau where we need to learn the next like level of lessons or level of business, acumen or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Um,
Definitely.
but the more you commit to your journey, and something that I've been diving into recently is the mindset of a successful person. And
Huge. Yeah.
how do successful people think? Because everything comes back to mindset, everything comes back to thoughts. Our reality is a reflection of our internal state. I
Yeah.
totally 1000% believe that. And so I like to study people that are further ahead than I am.
Hmm.
And one thing that I found is a common denominator, and I've read it over and over again, but I think it's that repetition of seeing it and feeling it over and over again is this common denominator that nothing will stop me. There are going to be roadblocks.
Yep.
There are going to be snafus. There are going to be things that happen that aren't ideal.
Yep.
But if I commit to this idea that everything is figure outable, then
I like I like I like that word, figure outable.
I would love to take credit for that. That's like a very Scorpio word. But
Yeah.
you commit that mindset of I'm going to be able to figure this out.
Yeah.
And I may not be able to figure it out tomorrow. There may not be a solution next week, but I know who I am. I know where I want to go. I don't necessarily know how I'm going to get there.
Yeah.
I'm going to figure it out.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that optimism, I mean, as like fluffy as it sounds sometimes, if you look statistically at people who are successful versus people who aren't, even if they have the same amount of intelligence,
Yeah.
the optimists always come out on top.
It's true, 100%. And you have to be like that. There's no other way to be. Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
No way. I have this conversation with my wife, and we're in the company together actually. And sometimes I have some crazy big goals, and she's like, "Babe, like, hold on, hold on. I'm like, look, we're not trying to land on the moon. I always bring it to the moon, and that's like my strategy. Look, so we're not trying to land on the moon, but they did it, and I bet at the time with what slide rules, they didn't have the calculators that we have, and they figured it out. Babe, all I'm trying to do is build a social network. And she's like, okay. And if you compare it, especially to people who came before you and the amazing things that people have done before you and what you're trying to do, not necessarily saying it's not as grand, but I'm not trying to land on the moon. I'm not trying to go to Mars.
It's totally and completely possible.
Yeah.
And I'm sure like an outer space civilization is being built right now, or
Yeah.
at least like
Yeah.
the brilliant like statisticians and mathematical people who that's like so part of my brain that I just don't even understand.
No.
I'm sure all of that stuff, the groundwork is being laid right now. So you building a social network or me having a career combining music and empowering people, like those are all possible things.
Yeah.
Are they easy?
No. No.
But do we really want the easy road? I mean, when I'm on my deathbed, I want to look back and be like, dang, I took some awesome risks. I may have fallen on my face sometimes,
Yeah.
smashed a few wounds, but at least I went out like
Yeah.
flame.
Close the blinds. I'm tired.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Yeah, definitely. Talking about music, is there a role for music again? You're focused on the business side. Is the music taking a side seat, or are we merging it in, or what's going on?
No, so music actually, so I should tell this story.
Yeah, tell it.
Um, in mid-April, I just recommitted. So I've been a musician for a long time. I started singing when I was 3. I started songwriting when I was 16. I've been playing music professionally for 5 years ish. And when I started my marketing business, it did take a backseat because I needed to focus solely on getting this thing off of the ground. But in mid-April, I very consciously just said to the universe, "Hey, I really want to get going with music again because that makes my heart so happy." And as you know, when your heart is happy, you bring that into all other areas of your life. So people
Absolutely.
who say like having fun and pursuing your passion isn't necessary, I completely disagree because I think it makes you a better human to everybody else.
Yeah.
Um, and I very consciously said, God, universe, I really want to focus on my music again after like a 4 month hiatus.
Yeah.
And how 5 days later, I got a call from a venue in town, an awesome venue in town, and they said, "Hey, we would like you to play a couple of private events that paid really, really well. One is full band and one is a duo. Would you be willing to do that?" And I was like, "Absolutely,
Yeah.
done." And then I was like, "I don't have a duo and I don't have a band." Because
Huh.
I've had
Yeah.
bands in the past, and musicians are a funny bunch. I can say that because I am one, but they're a little elusive and not necessarily the most reliable crowd. And I've had bands, but I was like, I don't have a current iteration of the Jaclyn Steele band, so
Yeah.
I have a lot of work ahead of me. But again, going back to everything's figure outable, if you commit to doing something and saying nothing is going to stand in my way, at least not permanently,
Hmm.
I pulled it off, man. And it was a team effort because I had bandmates, but we learned like 34 songs in 5 weeks or something. And to get 5 people on the same page musically is no small feat.
Yeah. That's incredible.
So, yeah, yeah. After a performance, I was like, I need a
Yeah.
nap.
Minimum.
It was so worth it.
Wow. So you guys are gonna continue and try to just keep doing big things, keep everything that you've worked hard at this point to move forward.
Absolutely,
Awesome.
absolutely. And again, like I like to say I'm able or I get to do this versus I have to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So my schedule is such that I have the maximum amount of flexibility. So I make my own hours. So if I have, a lot of music stuff happens late in the evening. So I have the ability to work at home all day doing marketing, helping out my clients, empowering their businesses,
Yeah.
empowering my own business, and I'm still able to do music and really spend a lot of time cultivating that as a business and the performance and like creative writing side of it as well. So,
Definitely.
it's not easy. It's not for everybody, but I love it so much that at this point in my life, I don't have children, so I don't, I don't have that if I had kids, that would change things a little
Yeah.
bit
Yeah.
because my hours are weird. But yeah, I'm able to do both.
Very cool. I have a crazy question. It's
Sure, shoot.
so I see the guitar sitting behind you. Do they have names? I'm gonna be that stereotypical.
You know what? They totally should. Like Arya with Needle. Do you watch Game of Thrones?
Yes, not regularly, but I have watched Game of Thrones. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Dude, so short answer,
Yeah.
no, they don't.
Yeah.
But they're about to. I feel like
See, we made it happen.
yeah, no, I feel like the electric guitar definitely needs to
Yeah.
be Khaleesi or like Daenerys or something like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then the acoustic needs like a gentler name. I
Absolutely.
don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll call like Fiona or something like that.
Very fitting.
But yeah, I'll let you know when I give them official names.
Cool.
I'll
Cool.
never.
Yeah, we'll update everybody. No, that's awesome. Cool, cool. Because yeah, I mean, my rifle has a name, so yeah.
Oh, what's his
Well,
name?
it's actually my wife's name, which is weird. Like my wife, yeah, it's not very creative, but I was like, you gotta have a guitar
Oh,
name. Gotta have a
yeah,
guitar
dude,
name.
that's such a good idea. That's such a good idea. I love those guitars. They are good, sturdy friends.
Yeah.
I will tell you what. Yeah, they've been a lot of cool places.
Oh, that's awesome. So let's talk about mentorship and how it's shaped Jaclyn Steele, the businesswoman and musician.
Yeah. So, this is that's such a good question. I I wouldn't be sitting here with you. I
Yeah.
wouldn't be talking to you had I not had some awesome mentors and had I not asked a lot of questions and risked looking silly or appearing silly to get the answer to the questions that I really needed the answer to.
Yeah.
So I think um, mentorship is one of those things that is if you want to get to that next level,
Hmm.
you have to have a mentor or you have to have a book or something that thinks bigger or has more information than you do.
Yeah,
If you are trying to get to the next level without having that catalyst, it's just not going to work.
definitely. So, do you have a mentor right now for business, or are you in the powering and reading stage of learning how to do everything? Because that's kind of where I am right now. I don't have a necessarily a business mentor, and a lot of the skills and knowledge I'm actually using from past mentors I've had, which people don't realize. You don't have to have a mentor 24/7.
No, no,
So
you absolutely don't.
yeah,
So, two answers to that question. I'm kind of always in the reading stage. I was talking about that with a friend today.
yeah,
Every morning, I have my coffee and read and meditate for a good hour and a half. So
wow,
that's how I start every single day, and it's either like a business book or like a spiritually based book or a self help book.
yeah,
So one of those areas, something that's expanding my mind. It's not like even though I enjoy fiction, it's not it's not fiction reading. It's like mind expansion time for me.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
I have a music mentor. She's an incredible musician. Been a musician since she was like 12 years old or something like that.
Yeah,
Grammy nominated, just incredible woman um, who has offered to mentor me. So I'm so fortunate in that. And then as far as business goes, I'm actually in a really unique living situation. So my husband also owns a startup. It's a real estate investing
wow, yeah,
thing. And then one of his best friends from college lives with us who has his MBA from USC. And so
nice.
our house is kind of like a startup house.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
so many of the conversations that we have all center around business and entrepreneurship and personal development and
wow,
time management and
that's
how we
huge.
can like up level our lives.
Yeah,
So I
that's
don't
awesome.
have one specific business mentor, but I would say I've positioned myself to be in an environment that is a catalyst for growth.
That's
And
huge.
sometimes, and this is something that I say because people are like, why do you always have people coming in and out of your house and like, what is going
Well, they have
on?
binoculars, like watching you.
Yeah, yeah, I know, right? Go mind your own
They're
business.
like the cat looking
Yeah,
looking
yeah,
across. That's
exactly.
awesome.
So people are like, what are you doing? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And to me, if you want to live an extraordinary life, which I do,
Hmm.
you have to make extraordinary moves.
Yeah.
And that's not going to look typical. Your days probably aren't going to look typical.
No.
Your living situations may not be typical. But I'll tell you what, like that is a catalyst for growth in every single way.
Hmm. Absolutely. And your living situation reminds me of the Jim Rohn quote, and I say it all the time, but you are the average of the five people you spend the most
Mm,
time with. So if you're spending time with people who are really motivated and they're positive and they're talking about how to take their life to the next step, that's what's gonna be how you carry yourself. And if you're surrounding yourself with negative people, it's the same thing.
dude, dude, I could not agree more. And I think in the last year, I've taken that quote more seriously than I ever
Oh
have.
yeah.
Because, as you get older and you become more mature, you just realize our time is limited.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
Yeah.
we're not like solar powered batteries.
Mm-hmm.
I guess physiologically in some ways we are, but we don't have limitless amounts of energy or time. And so I've become very intentional with who I'm spending time with and what relationships I'm investing in. And
Definitely.
my bottom line is like always be kind to everybody because everybody deserves kindness.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have to say yes to every invitation. I
Right.
just don't. I don't. And some people aren't going to understand that, and sometimes that makes people angry.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to be protective of my time and where I'm spending my energy because again, it's limited.
It's huge. That's it.
Yeah. And when you find your five people or three people
Yeah.
or two people, however many people it is, and
Yep.
that becomes your tribe, I mean, it's like having a full tank of gas versus like, running on empty or
Oh yeah.
being in the middle. There's so much fuel for the fire.
Definitely. And I have conversations with I have a twin brother actually, and
Oh, cool.
yeah, we're always on the phone talking, and sometimes it gets heated. My wife's like, "Go in the other room," and we're challenging each other all the time. So, and that's just our relationship, making sure that we're not getting complacent. Hey, have you thought of this? Hey, you really punted that. Think about this, and it just makes us better at the end of the day.
Oh, and having that accountability, but that support too.
No,
Um, you can't, I mean, that's like the definition of mentorship, right? Like it's
definitely.
supportive and it's encouraging, but it's honest.
No,
It's real honest, and that can be uncomfortable at times, but it's a good kind of discomfort because
that's
it's
it.
gonna help you grow. Yeah, like growing pains. I mean, I'm not very tall. I'm only 5'3", but
Mm.
I remember during that like very short period of when I was growing,
Yeah,
how painful like physical growth is, and it's the same with emotional, and spiritual and business growth. The exact same. It's not easy
that's
and it's
it.
not pain free, but it's so worth it.
I mean, every time you get out of the gym or you go for a run, what is it you feel? Do you feel pleasure necessarily the next day? How do your legs feel? How do your arms feel? How does your body feel? It hurts. But what does that mean? That means your body's growing, it's getting stronger. So it's the
Stronger.
same thing mentally, philosophically,
I couldn't
physically.
agree more.
You know?
Yeah. And I'm never like, oh man, but I really regret doing that workout.
Yeah. Oh, my body's getting better. It's getting stronger. That sucks. I regret that choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, if someone came up to you and they were like, Jaclyn, I want you to be my mentor, what expectations would you have for them? What conversation would you have with them?
So I would start with some questions.
No.
I think 2 years ago me would be like, absolutely, let's do this.
Yeah, yeah.
Having a couple more years under my belt and being a little wiser, I would ask some pointed questions like, how willing are you to change?
Mm-hmm.
And what are your goals? How many goals do you have?
No.
And are they realistic? And if I can help somebody, I am 1000% down, but I also realize that it takes two to tango.
Mm-hmm.
So I would be very clear on what I expected of that person and very clear on what they expected of me. Because I think once you get those kind of uncomfortable conversations out of the way,
Yeah.
that's when much magic can happen because there's clarity there. There isn't, all this like gray area.
Yeah.
And so, did that answer your question?
Definitely. That's a great answer. Yeah. Like you put the person in execution mode, and not like killing anybody, but like action mode.
Action.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because I can, and it will be the same if somebody was mentoring me.
Mm-hmm.
I can give you what I believe to be good advice all day long, but if you don't implement that or put it into action, no change is going to occur.
Yeah.
Um, and then it would just be a waste of my time and breath, right?
No, I agree.
And yeah, and I would never want a mentor of mine to pour that kind of time and energy and thought and heart into me and not
100%. Yeah, both the mentee and the mentor are putting their time and energy in. So as long as you're upfront, you know,
Valuable. Oh, that's so valuable.
yeah,
Yeah, I call those conversations expectation parties.
yeah,
Like I'm
I
super
like it. That makes it fun.
I know it like makes it sound like so much fun when
Yeah,
really, there's tough questions asked. But the sooner you have those like expectation parties, I think the easier it is to have meaningful relationships because you know exactly where you stand and the other person knows exactly where they stand.
yeah,
Those boundaries are so important.
very cool. All right. I'm gonna ask because obviously you are doing great things, and the people listening are gonna want to know what is your secret. So what's a key resource that you use today that contributes to your success?
Ah, I think for me, it's staying curious.
Yeah.
It's knowing there's so much out there in this world that I have yet to learn. And I think intrinsically, that keeps me so motivated. I love learning.
Yeah.
I love learning and keeping that curiosity. It's like a childlike curiosity. Like, how, how does a butterfly float like that? Or like,
Yeah.
what how many calories does a lion need to eat? Or like, oh my goodness, if I put kale seeds into the ground at this time of year, I'm not gonna have to buy it anymore. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
be able to grow it. I think that childlike curiosity has been a huge component of my growth. My
Definitely.
growth. Yeah.
I'm the same way. Like ridiculous appetite for knowledge, reading all the time. But what does that translate into? Like if you're that childlike curiosity, how does that butterfly fly like that? Then turns into how do I best serve my customers? How do I pivot from this business decision where now the market's changing? How do I best serve that? How do I actually meet that market now? Um,
Yeah.
it changes. It's the same curiosity, but it's just a different conversation.
Well, and I think the more you learn, the more you realize that you can figure out the answer.
Yeah.
Because the more you learn, the more you expand your brain and
Hmm.
your thought processes,
Yeah.
right? And the more expansive you become, like the smaller problems and setbacks become because you get perspective.
Right.
You realize like there's so much more happening right now. Me like losing a client or somebody saying something negative to me online, that's not going to ruin my day. There
Yeah.
are like way bigger fish to fry, and there are way bigger things happening in the world.
Yeah.
So I think the more you learn and the more expansive your mind and your thought processes become, the more equipped you are to handle whatever life throws at you.
That's it. Yeah. I watched my niece Chloe. Excuse me, Sydney. So I have a Chloe and Sydney, but the youngest one,
Oh,
she'll fall down, and we're all
yeah.
like, "Oh gosh, what's gonna happen?" She gets right back up, and she's right back at it, and that's it's again that childlike mentality completely translates into
Yeah.
really a resilient business mind.
I mean, can you imagine if we stopped every time we fell, or that negative voice that we so often speak to ourselves
Yeah,
with, that critical, awful, mean voice? Can you imagine if our parents spoke to us like that when we were learning to walk?
that'd be terrible.
We
Yeah,
would
people
never
people would still be
learn to
crawling.
walk,
Yeah,
right? We would never ever learn to walk. And so I think again, like, and I don't mean this in an immature way at
yeah,
all, but when we can cultivate that childlike curiosity and that resiliency to get back up again or to learn a new skill. Like, you're not going to learn Photoshop in 1 hour, but you
right,
can learn it in a couple of months.
right.
You're not going to learn how to walk in 2 seconds. It might take you months. And
Yeah,
that has been another key feature I think in my progress and growth is just that, like, I can't learn everything in a day, but I can learn it over time.
exactly. Very cool. What is a what's the biggest obstacle that you've ever faced with the help of a mentor, and if you didn't have a mentor, that could have been helped if you did have a mentor? We're getting into the nitty
You cut
gritty.
out.
I said, what is the
Oh,
biggest?
I'm so sorry.
No, you're.
Ah,
Can you hear me?
yes,
You hear me now?
yes.
Good. I'm selling phones now. No, I'm joking. What's what's the biggest obstacle you've ever faced with the help of a mentor? And if you didn't have a mentor, that could have been helped if you did.
Oh, so the biggest obstacle I ever faced, I was 25 or 26 years old, and I had worked really hard, but been given a record deal with an independent um, record label.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I mean, when you're a musician and you feel like you've got all of this backing behind you, it's like, I mean, it's incredible. You just feel like you could float on cloud nine.
Yeah.
And about 9 months into it, um, realized that it was just not going to be a good fit for me, and I was going to have to compromise on some things that would really have compromised what I feel like was my integrity. And I did have a mentor, um, and that mentor really helped me distill
Hmm.
what the problem was and separate that from who I am. Because when you're young and you're given an opportunity like that, you feel like I have to just bend over backwards and make it happen.
Yeah.
But he taught me that you can do that. You can bend over backwards and make it happen, or you can choose not to compromise your integrity and roll the dice and know that you stayed true to who you are.
Yeah.
And so that was a pretty pivotal moment for me where you realize, like, you may be given that golden nugget, but if that golden nugget isn't for you or it's going to compromise who you believe you are,
Yeah.
it's not worth it. It's not worth it at all.
That's it. And it's hard to have to let go of that opportunity, but
Not
you,
all, yeah,
you
because
know.
not all decisions are like clear cut.
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
not everything is black and white. Sometimes there are benefits that you're going to leave on the table, but you have to, the more you know who you are, and again, that's cultivated through curiosity,
Hmm.
through reading, through meditation, through journaling, through those practices that I think have become kind of a lost art.
Yeah.
But the more you know who you are, the easier it is to make those major life altering decisions.
Definitely. Well said. So
Thank you.
you talk a lot about meditation and just reflecting. Do you have a quote or a short poem or a mantra that you use that keeps your passion on fire?
So I love the everything is figure outable quote.
Yeah. I like it too.
That's just like, I'm not going to allow anything to stop me. And
Yeah.
I think the quote that I have said probably more than any other quote is a Mother Teresa quote,
Mm.
and that's love until it hurts and then love more. And
Wow.
that goes for loving people and
Yeah.
also loving yourself. Um, because we need to be our own best friends. Otherwise, it's going to be hard to accomplish any of those goals if we're just constantly beating ourselves up. So, yeah, love until it hurts and then love more, Mother Teresa.
That's awesome.
Thank you. What
And
about you? What's yours?
mine, so mine's not as like, you know, flowery, not flowery, but like light. Mine's be comfortable being uncomfortable. That's like right now
Oh,
something that it's down in the dirt, nitty gritty. I'm thinking like scratched up knees. That's where my mindset is right now. Like no matter, it's not gonna feel good right now. Right now it's gonna suck,
oh,
and I wholeheartedly accept that. And so mine's a little bit darker, you know.
but that's the mark of a successful person.
Yeah,
Knowing, like, it's not always going to be comfortable, and that's okay.
yeah.
That's so okay. That's where growth happens.
I get excited if it's hard and it sucks. I actually get excited. And then if I'm competing with other people, because I'm a competitive person by nature, it's even more fun for me because I'm looking at my left and my right, and I wish them all the best, but
Of course.
I'm gonna make them work if they're gonna try to beat me. So
Well, yeah.
that's where my mind's at.
And we live in a capitalistic society, right? So
That's it.
those are important muscles to flex.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm also a team player, and I'm big on teamwork and friendship and loyalty. So as fierce as I am, like, a competitor, I think I'm even more a fierce friend.
Yeah.
So
and you can be both.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know what I mean? Like, there's such a thing as divine dichotomy. You can be like
Yeah.
totally loving,
Yeah.
and also still not like things.
Protect my pack.
Yeah.
That's it.
Hell yeah.
You caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting that. I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, no. That's straight from the heart right there.
Oh, good. Good.
Whew. Wow. That was an amazing conversation. We've already reached the last portion, the Pass the Torch portion of our show. Torch holders, we have arrived at the time in our program where our guest has 1 minute to pass the torch and leave a legacy. We all know a mentor is a person who's achieved a level of success that we desire and can effectively guide us to success as well. And definitely we can count Jaclyn in that category as someone who can be an outstanding mentor. Based on the success you, Jaclyn, have achieved at this point in your life, if you could pass the torch and leave a legacy message to your former self or anyone in a similar situation, how would you pass the torch in 1 hot minute?
I love this question. And honestly, it's going to be something that I already said, that you can figure anything out. If you want something, no matter how big, no matter how far off it seems, commit to it.
Yeah.
And commit to not allowing anything to permanently stand in your way. That doesn't mean that there won't be roadblocks, that there won't be challenges, that there won't be people who get in your way. But if you purpose in your mind to continue to move forward and figure out the solution, there is, and I believe this to my core, there is nothing that you can't achieve. I mean, people are limitless. And we put all these limits on ourselves, but it's so unnecessary.
Yeah.
So if you want to do something, if you have a dream, it is absolutely possible.
There you have it. You got a dream. Go out there and get it. Do not limit yourself. Whew.
Yes.
Love it.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for having me on. I'm just so honored.
Thank you for being on the show. This was another episode of Pass the Torch podcast with the one and only Jaclyn Steele. This is Levante Santos and Jaclyn Steele signing off, reminding you to seek knowledge and pass the torch.